By the way, do you personally associate it with the rhetoric that in the future Europe can take on the main burden of helping Ukraine instead of the United States? Is it any threat for Ukraine?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Not a chance. There's just no chance. The biggest and most powerful country in the world militarily, with the most spare equipment and the most available capacity, the most industrial capacity, is the USA. Nobody else is anywhere near it. Now, not the near future. If one talks about the long-term future, maybe 8 to 10 years, then possibly. But it would take a totally different way of working and a totally different rationale behind the politics to do that, because that sort of political understanding that we have to support Ukraine for maybe 8 to 10 years and rebuild it and things, it's simply not there at the moment. And it is only America, it's only the USA that can do this business with the capacity that is required to support Ukraine.
Talking about Ramstein, back to this event. For the first time, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Valery Zaluzhny, as you know, took part in the Ramstein meeting. How important do you think it is? Or will it help convince Ukrainians partners of the need to provide more aid and more weapons for Ukraine?
I don't think it will provide... no, there's two things to this. I mean, Zelensky and Zaluzhny were both there. Zelensky is not needed there. This is a working meeting. Actually, Zelensky going distorts the meeting because it means that people can't talk openly in the same way. When you've got a president there, you do not need presidents at this sort of work. This is back kitchen work, if you know what I mean. It's not, and therefore, Zaluzhny is the man that should have been there from the beginning, because he's the man that's got to organize the fighting. And therefore, he's the man who can talk the nuances and the arguments about, well, if you haven't got that, can you give me this? If you haven't got this, can you give me that? Now, there is no way that the president or the minister can do that. They simply don't have the level of understanding of the military side to do it. So I say it again. Zelensky going there distorts the meeting. He should not go. He should have his nice discussions with Zaluzhny first, and then Zaluzhny is the man that's actually got to go there and do that work, because he's the man that's got to make it work on the ground.
Okay, it's interesting. Is Ramstein is unique format? Does world history know an analog of such a large-scale defense coalition, which would include 50 countries now?
That's a very good question. Because I don't know what we did for the Korean War. I mean, the Korean War was also a lot of countries. Certainly we didn't have anything like this for the Second World War. The Korean War was a coalition of the willing, as we call it. There was a coalition of the willing for the first Gulf War, but that certainly wasn't 50 countries. I mean, the main thing, I think, was probably 10 or 12 maximum. And the main ones there, of course, for the first Gulf War were America, Great Britain and France. Although others sent small pieces to assist. So I think that Rammstein and this support for Ukraine is unique, and I'm not sure it'll be reproduced again for a long time. It's an amazing undertaking that will be written about for a long time in the future.
And maybe my next question is a little bit naive, but how many more meetings of Ramstein must be held in order for Ukraine to get enough weapons to win the war?
I'm not sure that you'll ever see enough weapons to win the war coming out of Ramstein, but I'd certainly say that we've got at least another 36 to 48 meetings to come, if it's one a month. So, let's be clear, this war is going to be a long war. Unless Russia breaks suddenly, or America has a complete and utter change of heart, neither of those two do I see coming. I think the only thing that would change the formula and would change the way that this works is if Russia actually attacked NATO. And then all gloves would be off as far as America is concerned. And it will be a completely different formula for Rammstein than we have at the moment. But certainly it's going to be a long way to go.
Do you think Ramstein should be expanded and include more countries? Is it real and is it necessary?
Well, I'm not sure anybody else wants to come in. I mean, I think Rammstein is open. If anybody wants to come, they've just got to put their hand up and say, you know, please, can I come to your party? I have something to offer. Now, I'm not sure, and in fact, I am sure that Ukraine is not doing enough diplomatically to actually make this work better. You can't have diplomacy just from the president going on television. You actually have to have good, high-quality diplomats in every country that you need to have them. They don't even have to have an embassy. You just have to send the best people to encourage them, because there are weapons and equipment in Africa. There are weapons and equipment in South America. There are countries that have got quite large systems, a lot of which must be getting older, which they would happily send if the right noises were made. And I make an example of Chile. So I think that you know, this is not about waiting for someone to put their hand up and say they want to join. We have to go out and find them. That means diplomats. It means quality diplomats, and it means a hard fight to persuade countries like India that they've got to join our side, not stay in the middle and play happy games with Russia.